Hey, what's up ladies and gentlemen, I'm Ignace and welcome to the CreatorGalaxy.com space station. Here in space, we are experimenting with intergalactic filmmaking skills and visual effects. And in today's video, we're going to check out how to create 10 awesome effects from the new music video in Eminem Godzilla. Alright, so it was a really cool music video, tons of effects in there, and I was thinking to myself, should I upload one effect, or maybe that effect, or maybe I should make a tutorial of that effect, and I was like, heck, I'm just gonna show all of them. So before we start this video though, I would like to mention today's video sponsor. Today's video sponsor is Corsair. Corsair has everything kind of computer related. For example, we just got a power supply and RGB fans from them, which are really cool. And I really like the brand. We have a great collaboration going with them. They have a ton of awesome things. Keyboards, cases, computer RAM and stuff like that. We actually really stand behind their products. So yeah, definitely check out the link in the description below, and then let's start with this tutorial. So for the tutorial, we are going to be covering 10 awesome effects from the Eminem Godzilla video. I will be putting timestamps in the description below so you can skip through each effect individually. And also, if you want to work with the exact same footage as me, I will also provide you that in the link in the description. So if you're having any questions, just check out the link in the description. Well, just check out the description and maybe you'll find your answers. Okay, so the first video that I will be doing, or let's cover all the effects first. So we have the big eyes here, just like that. Then we have the blood splatter, which, yeah, Enzo is just, I'm like stabbing him and the blood keeps splashing out. Then we have this awesome blur effect, which looks really cool. It's kind of the blur shifting around the frame, super cool effect. Then we have the face on the bottle effect. And then we have the face replacement right here of Enzo. It's really weird how this looks. Well, yeah, basically my beard on Enzo, so like a face app kind of look. Then we have the fire on the legs and me spitting the fire. Then we have 3D knives that we're gonna be seeing how to do. No mouth effect, which is I'm talking and then boom, my mouth is gone. And then we have the crack ground here. Where each step I take, the ground cracks. Okay, let's do this. The first one that we're going to be tackling is the big eyes effect. So I'm going to drag this into a new composition and I'm going to right click new and create a new null object. This is going to be our track left. So basically you want to create two nulls, each different eye is going to be separately. I will be showing you how to do one eye, but basically you repeat this process to do the second eye. So we're going to click on our footage and go to the tracker, then track the motion and drag this on top of your pupil. And then we want to go to the beginning of our timeline and track it forward. And then just before we close our eyes, we want to stop the track. Like, let's say right here, I'm just going to trim the comb to the work area. There we go. This is enough to work with. And then we want to edit our target to the track left. Go to the beginning of our timeline, apply this and click OK. Then we want to right click new and create a new adjustment layer. Here we want to add the liquify tool. And then we want to click on the null here, press P on the keyboard, click on the adjustment layer, and then alt click on the stopwatch for the distortion mesh offset. And then pick whip the position here and then minus pick whip its own value, so the own offset, and that's going to just center this out. And then while clicking on this liquify tool, we want to use the bulge effect to increase our eye look here. So right here, and then just click over here and fill up your eye to make it as big as possible. So once you've done that, you basically want to go to the moment where I open my eye, click on the stopwatch for the distortion percentage, set it to, well, 100. Move back a little bit and set it to 0. So right here, I'm opening my eye and my eye gets really big. So basically, to repeat this process, create a new null object, create a new adjustment layer, new liquify, everything new for the second eye. Next, we have the blood splatter. So we're going to import that into a composition. For the blood splatters, we actually need to use real stock footage blood splatters because we cannot replicate them as realistically in Adobe After Effects. And we actually have a pack on our website for blood splatters. So whatever you want to do, horror kind of type film looks, or you want to shoot people, you want to kill people, with visual effects, you can go to our website and get the blood pack. So blood pack. Okay, so we are going to open up the side here and just drag this into our composition. These are 4K, so they have a very big resolution. And then we want to go to our move anchor point and just move the anchor point to the center. Make sure that's the actual center. It starts like right over here. And then we want to right click time and also flip it horizontally so it moves to the right. And then we want to just put that in position and get something like that going. So now you can just import as many as you want. Also transform, flip horizontal, and also put these in position just like that, and offset these. And that way you're gonna have like the second one, import another one here. Maybe also this one is opening up like that. So transform, flip horizontal, put it in position here. Also offset it a little bit, and there we go. And just keep repeating this process as long as you want, if you really want that kind of long-lasting blood splatters coming out of his body. Next, we want to take a look at the blur effect. So we're going to import that into our composition. For the blur effect, we want to create a new solid. Like I always like to use the fractal noise effect. We're going to do that again. So we're going to right click new and create a new solid layer, fractal noise, and then apply the fractal noise effect to this solid layer. We're going to open up the transform, change it to like 700, and also increase the contrast quite a bit, something like that. You can play with the brightness however you want, and then we want to alt click on the evolution and set something like time times 1000. If we're going to play this back, we're going to have like a very fast animation of our white and blacks shifting through each other, and we do want to make it a little bit less smoothly. We want to add a posterized time effect to get rid of that and change the frame rate to 7, and that's going to add that kind of stuttery look to our fractal noise, which we want. So we're going to click on our layer, pre-compose, move all the attributes, and that's going to be our fractal luma. Right click new and create a new adjustment layer. This is going to be our blur. Well, actually we want to add camera lens blur. Let's try that. Come on. So we're going to set the blur radius to 25, and then we are going to repeat the edge pixels. And for the blur map, we want to choose a layer for the fractal luma. Also uncheck the fractal luma so we don't see it, and that way you get to see this in the clip. If you don't like the results the first time, you can also try to invert the blur map, and that way you're going to get different results. This is looking pretty nice. Then you also want to go to our website and get our wiggle expression. This is actually for free, so don't worry, you can go ahead to our website and get the wiggle expression. So that's going to be on this adjustment layer. We're going to apply the wiggle preset v2.0.1. If there are newer versions, use those. And we're going to import that. I'm going to enable the position, the rotation, and maybe even the scale, and set it to a hard shake. Okay, so that's looking pretty cool. If you want to zoom in more, because the shake does cut off some, you can use a transform and scale up a little bit and then kind of move it up and play around with that. So that's how to do that effect. Then we want to use the bottle face. We're going to import that in a composition. Here we need to key out ourselves from the green screen. If you want a more in-depth tutorial on green screen removal, you can go and check out my other tutorial where I explain exactly how to do green screen removal, very in detail, very in-depth. I will also link that in the description below. Here I'm just going to key out myself.
Hey, lazy, wake up.
And there we go. And then I'm going to drag my face on a bottle, do a new composition, and drag the face bottle right here. Add an advanced build suppressor if you want to, and then we also want to apply the CC cylinder effect, because we're actually going to apply it to a cylinder. So I want to kind of have that same perspective going on. And then we do want to scale it down and play around with it until it looks good. And also make sure that here feather is working for us. Okay, that's looking okay. Maybe a little bit less feather. And there we go. Then I'm also going to apply a CC light sweep, because we can see this light on the bottle, and actually I want to keep it as realistically as possible. So set the direction to 0 and increase the width here. And then kind of offset it like right here. And I'm also going to apply the cartoon effect which I will put in front of the light sweep, and set the shading steps to 2, and maybe play a little bit more with the threshold and with the smoothness. And then also I would like to apply a curves to increase the contrast on my face. And there we go. So now we have a cartoon look of myself. We can also press T on the keyboard and just lower the opacity a little bit to blend it a little bit better with the bottle, but that's how you do it. Then go back to the project manager and we're going to apply the face replacement. So this one is a really cool one to work with. I'm actually going to this moment right here, press N on the keyboard, and I'm just going to trim it to the work area. I don't need that long of a piece. But if you want an in-depth tutorial on how to do a face replacement, we're actually going to be using a plugin called Lockdown. I already made a video on how to use Lockdown in detail, so you can go and check that out. So what we'll do is click on our layer, pre-compose it with the Lockdown script right here, then add the optional tracking filter when you have selected, of course, your video. And this is to get a little bit more detail of your face. We can also change blur radius to something like 3 because it's a little bit too much halo around ourselves. So this is looking okay. Then we want to click on the lockdown effect, which is already automatically applied. And then with the control, I want to just drag around Enzo's face. Boom, there we have it. So we can now open up that composition, and right here we can see the lockdown effect applied to this video. What we want to do here is actually go to our project manager, and I already have a image of myself. So I have myself like this, but that was actually not in the right angle. So you would like to try to get it in the right angle and just try to replicate his face as good as possible. So for this instance, I look here in the right direction. So I'm going to be using this one. So go to that composition and drag in this image. Then I'm just going to key out myself. And then with the ellipse tool, paint out my eyes and also my mouth. Something like that. And then select these 3 layers, subtract these, and then for all the layers, we do want to introduce a little bit of feather, and especially for the top one, something like this. Okay, that's looking all right. Now we want to move this over. So first I'm going to shift the anchor point to the nose and then place it on top of Enzo at the end of the video here, and try to get it in the right position here. Okay, and then I also want to match the color of his face, so I'm going to add a curves effect. So this is looking really trippy. Right here at the eye, we do have a little bit of a problem, but that's kind of okay. Well, because we just did it so quickly. So basically, just go ahead and check out the tutorial on the lockdown itself. Once you understand it, you can start playing around with face replacements and stuff like that. For the next one, we have the fire legs right here. So to do that, I do want to track my legs. We don't necessarily need to do that for this shot because I'm standing quite still, but the camera is moving. If you're going to be tracking yourself, you need to be tracking everything separately. So if you're moving this hand right here, you want to track this one separately of this one, and every body part you need to track it separately. So for the fire, I like to use the video stock footage from actionvfx.com. I will also put a link to that in the description below, but basically you will need real stock footage in order to make this effect work, because you cannot make fire in Adobe After Effects, or you will need to start doing some 3D simulations, but that's getting hard very quickly. All right, so first I'm going to track it. I'm going to be using Mocha AE, which is a very powerful tracker in Adobe After Effects. I do want to change my resolution to full and then open up the Mocha tool right here. So right here at the beginning, click on the pen tool and click over here, and then right click and then play it forward. And by the way, if you enjoy this kind of content, like 10 effects in a row, definitely let me know in the comments below. I'm really wondering what you guys think of it. We have to kind of stress the speed here a little bit, so hopefully you don't mind too much, because we have so many effects to cover, and I do not want this video to become like over 1 hour long or something, or even 1 hour. If you enjoy it, definitely give this video a like, and also be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to stay notified when I upload new videos. let's continue. So we have our track right here. We can close our Mocha and save it. Then I'm going to right click new and create a new null object. Click here and go into the tracking data. For the create track data, we do want to use the layer here. Click OK. And then for the export option, change the option to transform. And then also layer to export to, we want to use our null and then apply the export. Next, we do need our fire, so I'm going to open up this folder right here. I have some fire elements that I got from actionvfx.com. For example, this wall corner or the wall fire. I do think this one is a pretty cool one, so I'm going to import that into my composition. Then I want to place that into the right position, maybe even kind of offset it and kind of scale it down. And then I also want to apply a solid composite effect to our video, well, our fire. The reason why I'm applying the solid composite effect is because later on we do want to apply some glow on it. Glow doesn't work on transparent videos, so that's why I'm doing that. We're going to change the mode to screen and parent this to the null, so it's actually tracking on our body. So we can then reposition this. Something like this is looking pretty cool. And just make sure it kind of stays tracked. But it's kind of moving all over the place because it's such a big fire. So something like this is all right. Now we can apply a curves effect to this. We can also go to the alpha and kind of increase it a little bit more in front of our solid here. And then we also want to apply the perfect glow preset, which is a free glow preset that you can get on our website. I know we have some really nice things for free, so definitely go and check them out with the link in the description below. This glow preset, I've been using it for many times. I really enjoy working with it. We can play around with the intensity a little bit and the radius. It's just going to give you a nicer glow than the regular glow in Adobe After Effects. So this is looking okay. We can also use a hue and saturation here to shift the hue and make it a little bit more orange. Then right click new and create a new adjustment layer. This is going to be a reflection, and here we want to apply a curves as well. So here we do want to use our pen tool and kind of paint out a part of the leg, and we also want to parent this to the null. Then for the reflection, increase it a little bit, go into the red channel, also increase it a little bit, and for the blue, decrease it so we have some orange tones. Maybe for this one we do want to add some contrast in there, but if we're going to disable the fire, we will see right here what we're doing. So we're kind of creating some reflections for the fire. Obviously you do want to add some feather as well to make it look a little bit like this, and that way we can put it below the fire and we have the reflection of the fire on our body. Obviously you can make it as big as you want if you want more reflections to go on. So this is looking pretty cool. We can also of course animate the opacity to go from 0 to 100 when the fire gets bigger, so that's completely up to you. Animate the mask, play around with everything. And then I'm opening up my mouth, so that's basically the same thing. I'm going to be using one of these fires here, the fireball. And basically you can also track your mouth if you want to. You can right click, transform, flip it horizontal and put that in position, scale it down. Okay, cool. You can also add a solid composite effect to this, change it to black and set it to screen. Add a perfect glow and add a hue and saturation. Okay, there we go. And we have fire coming out of my mouth. Okay, so let's continue with the next clip. And that's the knives. Let's import that into this composition. So for the knives, we do want to export this to Cinema 4D. You can use any 3D software or use Element 3D in Adobe After Effects. I do not have Element 3D, and I also like working in Cinema 4D, so I did it in Cinema 4D. Yeah, I found this knife on TurboSquid. I retextured it using Octane's materials because I have Octane as a render engine, and that's my render engine of choice. So we're going to create a new document and we're going to motion tracker and go here to the footage and import your video. So I'm going to be importing this video right here. And then I'm going to the 2D tracker, or before that I'm going to resample it up a little bit, go to the 2D tracker and set my number of tracks I want to use and auto track this video. No, actually my girlfriend entered and I was like, no, I'm recording. But she was bringing me something, and now I feel terribly, terribly bad that I was like, no, 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 don't enter. I'm so grateful. Thank you so much. It's a great carrot juice with some oranges, and it's fantastic. Wow. Okay. Okay, so your track is done, and then we want to check and remove all the tracks around my face by right-clicking and dragging around the face right here. Okay, so once you think that looks good enough, we can continue to the 3D solve and 3D solve this camera.
A few moments later.
Okay, so once it's 3D solved, we do want to go to our knife and we want to copy this into our new scene right here. Uncheck your camera and we want to go here and add a sphere to our scene. Move it like right over here into the center of the action. And then we want to go and apply or add a cloner effect, put that knife in there. And then with the cloner, we want to use the object and clone to object, add the sphere to an object, and then the distribution will be polygon center. From here, we want to go to the transform and set the H to -90. And then we also can change the segments of the sphere to add like less knives, and then also increase the radius quite a bit, and also increase the knife's size. And just disable the sphere so you don't see it. Maybe these are a little bit too many, so we're going to set the segments to 10. We're also going to click on the knife right here, select all the children, set it, press C on the keyboard and connect, let's delete the objects. There we go. So we have the cloner here. Let's render this to our viewport. And there we have it. Then we also want to add an object. This is going to be an HDRI environment. Ideally, you would take a 360 image of the location you're at, like in this room. But in this case, I'm just going to be using another image because we don't have the 360 camera right now. So I'm going to import some kind of studio look HDRI, the one that you just saw. That's basically it. So what we want to do then is, once you're satisfied with the look of your cloner, we can go for effector and add a random effector to that. We can go into the parameters and set this to 20, 20, and 20, and the rotation also 20, 20, 20. That way we get some kind of variation in there. Maybe that's a little bit too much, but hey, that's okay. Something like that looks okay. So once you're satisfied, we can click on the cloner, press C on the keyboard, and then click on the knives that don't belong. And then basically you just export them with your render engine from Cinema 4D into Adobe After Effects. Just make sure that you go to the right-click, interpret footage main, and set this to the exact same frame rate of your video by checking this into the composition settings. And that way it's going to perfectly track your knives in your scene. I also applied some effects to color correct it a little bit better into my shot and used the RSMB to get the correct motion blur. Next we have no mouth, so we're going to import that into a new composition right here. So I'm talking and all of a sudden I have no mouth. So I'm going to split this layer right here. And basically you want to do the same thing as with the lockdown. You want to lock down my mouth, and then you want to remove the mouth and then paste it in there again. So to do that, I just pre-compose this. I add the optional filter to my video.
Hey, lazy, wake up.
Okay, and then open up that layer and it creates automatically an adjustment layer, a guide layer. We want to disable that for now. And we want to go for composition, save, and save this file. Save it as a PNG file this time. Click OK. And export this as correct mouth. And in Photoshop, we want to import that. And we want to use our clone stamp tool. So with the clone stamp tool right here, alt click here and then kind of paint over here to fill in these parts. And there we go. And once you're satisfied, you just basically save it to the same location, also as a PNG file. Save this and yes, replace it. Then go into After Effects and import that layer or that clip or that image actually, and drag that on top, and that way it will remove the mouth. And if we go back to the final result, our mouth is now removed, so boom, and it will actually follow along with our movements. So there we have no mouth. And then last we have the RGB Echo Effect. This is actually a really simple one. For this we want to create a new adjustment layer, and basically we want to create a ellipse mask right here, like this. Press M on the keyboard for the mask path, go till the end, put it over here, go in the middle, put it over here, and just adjust me to center this ellipse. And then we want to subtract this ellipse and press F on the keyboard and then just feather it quite a bit. We want to apply the echo effect on top of that, and we want to make sure the echo operator is set to maximum, and we want to set it to number of echoes 3. Add a little bit more, but not too much of delay, so then we already have the echo effect. And then we want to apply also chromatic aberration from VR chromatic aberration, and boom, there we have it. We have our effect of the RGB Echo Effect, which is a really cool effect, really simple. You can see how fast we created this, but I mean, how cool is this one? And then lastly, we have this here. So here I'm walking, I want to right click, transform, and flip this horizontal so it actually looks like I'm walking away. That's a more correct form of walking. And then I want to find an image that has these kinds of cracks. So I actually searched for cracked ground. I found it on pexels.com, so you just search for cracks and you will find something similar. And you want to import that in your video, scale it down quite a bit, set it to tint, and then also add a levels. And then we want to make it very, very white, just like this. And then we want to add an extract effect on top of that, remove the whites. And then we want to add a fill effect on top of that, make it a dark kind of grayish, or take one of these colors here in the scene. And then we want to make this a 3D layer. And actually with the pen tool you can kind of cut out like the cracks to make it look more organic, just like this. And while we have it as a 3D layer, we go to the rotation tool, or W on the keyboard, and rotate it to the place where I land, so like right here. So let's say this is our first step right here. Then we have a, we're also going to add layer styles, inner shadow, and that's already looking pretty cool. You can go into the layer, inner shadow styles, and rotate where the shadow is coming from, and also play with the opacity, the distance, and the size. The size maybe, well, actually everything is looking pretty cool. 7 maybe, and maybe 50 in the shadow. Okay, and we also want to add maybe some Gaussian blur, just to make it more subtle. Something like this is okay. And then just duplicate it and place it on these different places. And actually this one is the wrong image, the wrong video footage. It's actually this video clip here, crack ground, so we can delete this part and then just reposition these. So one is here, like right here. This one should be like right here. And what we can also do is actually delete this one for now. Right here will land, so right here it should start. We're going to press M twice on the keyboard and click on the stopwatch for the mask expansion and offset it 2 frames, and then just decrease this expansion like this, so it's actually like growing out. Boom. You can duplicate this, our other foot lens right here. We can trim this to comp area. Boom, 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 boom. The only thing we have to do is duplicate this shot and bring it on top. So either you will have to rotoscope yourself here, which is a really tedious job, and I hate it, honestly. So I always try to find other ways of doing it. So I can see that the street is a very uniform color. So what I will be doing is apply a tint effect to that, and then a levels effect to that. and then try to get this tree to look as white as possible, and try to bring this in to make everything else look as black as possible. And then kind of crush these two things together to get a as good as possible key. This is not perfect, but it's okay for in this case. So I'm going to bring this on top of each and press F on the keyboard and use a track matte here, Luma inverted. I think Luma inverted is the one we want, or actually Luma. The Luma one we want to use. So we're going to duplicate the ground crack on top of each of these. And then click on each of these individually and hold Control to select all of these. And then we can set all of these to Luma matte. And that way, nothing is changing. Because we have to actually pre-compose these because of all the effects we apply to it. So move the attributes, then, okay, move the attributes for this one, Control Shift C. So pre-composing these is gonna make it work, as you can see from the second that we will set these back to a Luma matte. Okay, so I'm getting tired. We did a lot of things in this video, but okay, there we go. We have the result. Congratulations, we are done. We are officially done. We can apply an adjustment layer, maybe add some quick last tips in this tutorial just to finish it off. We are just getting so far. We can maybe add some contrast like this, and you can apply LUTs. So we can apply a Lumetri color, and you can go to the creative tab and use a LUT. So we can search for one of our awesome LUTs, which you can also buy on our website. I will put a link in the description below for those as well. The Apocalypse one is really cool. And then 50%, and then we have something like that going on. We can also add a new adjustment layer on top of everything and kind of make a mask like this. And then we're going to apply the curves effect to that and bring them darker like so. Press F on the keyboard, subtract it and feather it. And that way we get a little bit more of depth in our shot. Like this is before and after. It just makes our shot look a little bit more interesting. So there we have it. That was the tutorial with 10 awesome effects from Eminem Godzilla. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give this video a like. Also, be sure to subscribe to the channel for more. Hit the notification bell to stay notified when I upload new videos. And really, whoa, this was a long one. I hope you enjoyed it. I really do. I'll see you in the next one. Take care and goodbye.